In this video, I will be showing you how to design the user experience when activating the employee self-service product for your employees. These selections will apply to all of your employee self-service users. I will also log in as a user to demonstrate the employee view of the product. We cover how to set up users for employee self-service in a separate module under Product Access. I am in Employer on Demand. There are settings that are only available in Employer on Demand that relate to employee self-service. Depending on the level of access granted by your payroll company, you may or may not have permission for the features discussed in this video. Employee self-service allows users to log into a secure website and view current and past pay stubs, as well as W-2 information. They may also update some employee information, such as address and emergency contact, depending on settings. The setup in Employer on Demand is under Company Setup. I'll open up my company. Go to Company Setup, Online Access and Settings. And Online Access. These choices are all toggles, meaning they're either an on or an off choice. So if you have the pay stub turned on, that means the employee can see their pay stub. If you have the email electronic pay stub turned on and the employee has a valid email address on their contact tab and employee self-service is active for that person on the morning of the pay date. So if it was your pay date was Friday, between 3 and 5 in the morning on Friday, then employee will get an email saying your pay stub is now available for viewing. They click on the link in that email, put in their username and password, and they can view their pay stub. If the timesheet is turned on, they can view their timesheet. They cannot make any changes to it, but they can view it. These next 4 options, employee info, W-4 info, direct deposit info, and emergency contacts, all work the same way. If the item is turned on, the user can see the fields, change the information in the fields, and save their changes. Any saved changes immediately update the database. And that goes for employee address, direct deposit, anything. It immediately updates. It's all one database. It's just, in this case, the employee is doing the updating instead of maybe you. And then what day do you want to release W-2s to them? So you can pick any day in January. So those are all the settings that impact what the product, how the product works. So let's see what it looks like for a user. It is a website, selfservice.employerondemand.com. It'll say Employer on Demand, Employee Self-Service. And this is where they'll either log in with the username and password you gave them if you set them up manually, or they potentially have set up their own username and password. If they use the automated method, notice that they do have a forgot your username and password right underneath the login. The very first time the user logs in, they're going to get terms and conditions. I don't get them anymore because I've logged in so many times to this user. So after they accept the terms and conditions, they're taken to this My Profile screen. And this is where they can set up their security questions and answers. And these are the security questions and answers are what the system uses if the person utilizes the forgot password or forgot username links. After you select your security questions and answers, you have to select Update My Profile to accept those changes. Also on the same page, you can click here to change the username and password for employee self-service by putting in the person's username and password current, and then what do you want to change it to. But again, you have to click on this Change Username Password box for those changes to take effect. Wherever you are in employee self-service, if you click on Pay Info in the upper left-hand corner, they'll take you back to the main screen. It always will default to show the employee's payroll information, such as their name, address, marital status, and exemptions. They also will be able to see tasks. So if they have a task that's been assigned to them, they can potentially respond to that task there, mark it completed or so forth. The second section is their most recent check date. If they have more than one check on that check date, this is the summary. To see a breakdown of their most recent check date, they go to the next section down. And here I have the paycheck detail for 9/20. I can print, or I can view any other check date that I've ever closed in Apex. Looking at the stub, it'll have their marital status and exemptions, their pay period information, and then a breakdown of earnings, taxes, deductions, how they're getting paid, accruals, and potentially punches if they have time cards. If I click back on Pay Info, I'm back on the main screen, and right here is where I just clicked to view my most recent paycheck. If I go underneath there, there's another way for me to get to that same exact screen, all of my checks. So 2 ways to get to the same thing. Next, I have year-end tax forms. So any year that closed in the system, you can view the W-2s. And they do need Acrobat, Adobe Acrobat Reader. If they don't have it, they can download it. Now, if I click on this little Pay Info, this looks very familiar to what we just looked at in the setup. All the same options: pay stub, timesheet, employee info. So that's the pay stub again. Just a different way to get to that exact same screen. Timesheet, well, I can't change anything, but I can see my current timesheet and any past timesheets. Employee info, name, address, phone number, and email. And since I have a save changes here and a cancel, that means that I can make changes here, and any changes I make are saved automatically to employer on demand / employer on the go. It's all one database. It's just a different way of accessing. Under W-4, I can change my federal only, marital status and exemptions, direct deposit. I can view, edit, or delete my direct deposits. So I can add accounts, get rid of old accounts. It really comes down to what you are comfortable with your employees doing. And then under emergency contact, I can add another emergency contact or view, edit, or delete any existing ones. All right, and then when I go Pay Info, I return back to that main sheet. And anytime I'm leaving the system, I want to make sure I log out using the logout. So employee self-service, they can view W-2s, view pay stubs, any that close in the system, and potentially make a few changes to the employee record. But you control exactly what they can see and do. Thank you.